Yee! Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tiffany and I'm the owner of Tiffany Gordon Cosplay, which is a company that focuses on costume and prop fabrication as well as education. And I'm so excited to bring you another 4 set of female breastplates. And if you've been following me on this adventure, my goal is to do sizes small through extra large to help both our males and female cosplayers in the community. And I'm really excited to bring you our latest set, which is extra large. And a big shout out to Honeyfro Cosplay, who helped me make sure that I was able to get the correct size as well as be my beautiful model. So make sure to check her out. And before we begin, remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all of my latest cosplay tutorials. So let's begin. And all 4 of these breastplates are sold individually on my website, or if you'd like to save some money, you can get it as a bundle. And the materials that you'll need for making any of these breastplates will be 4mm HT foam, Sharpies, a cutting mat, a heat gun, X-Acto knife, contact cement glue, and of course your respirator for safety. And I'll have links in the description for these. So let's begin with our very first breastplate of the set, and it is pattern number 17. To start off, you're going to want to cut out each of the parts of the pattern and tape them onto your 4mm HT foam, trace it, and don't forget to label each of the parts. And after that's done, I highly recommend to heat treat your foam using a heat gun. This is going to make it so you don't have to heat treat your breastplate later, as well as it's gonna help lay your foam flat, because when you order foam, it always comes rolled up, and this will help unroll it. Then when that is done, you can grab your cutting mat as well as an X-Acto knife and cut out each of the parts. And here is what all of the parts should look like once they're cut out. Then grab your contact cement glue as well as your respirator for safety, because this is a chemical, and we're going to start applying our glue. And you'll do this to all of the labeled edges. And once the glue is fully dry, then we can start to assemble. And we're gonna start off with the cup sections of this breastplate, starting with part G, and there is a centerpiece that you will connect to itself. Then we're gonna move up to the next part of the cup, and this is gonna be connecting G to F, starting from one side and working our way to the other, and then moving up to the next piece, which will be connecting F to E, doing the same process, connecting from one end and working our way to the other. And then you're going to repeat this for the other cup parts, which is B, C, and D. Then we're going to connect the cup part to the waistband. And our first part we're going to connect is our BCD section, which will connect to A. And there should be labeled parts on the pattern for where to connect each piece with a little tick line. So connecting D to A, then the C part to A, then the B part, followed by the C again, and repeating this for the other side for G, F, and E, connecting it to part H. And the last step for finishing out this breastplate is connecting the center pieces, which will be connecting A to H, as well as the top part of our cups. You're going to be connecting the D part to E, and that will complete pattern number 17. Now for the next pattern, which is number 18. And just like our first pattern, you're going to want to cut out all of the parts from the pattern and tape and trace them onto your 4mm HT foam, as well as label all of the parts. Then grab your heat gun for a real quick heat treat of the foam, as well as to help it lay flat. And then we're going to cut it out with an X-Acto knife. And here's what all of the parts for this pattern should look like. And now that everything is cut out, it is time to glue. And for this, again, we're going to be using contact cement glue as well as a respirator for safety. And you're going to want to apply the contact cement glue to all of the labeled edges. Once that's done, you're going to want to wait for it to fully dry, and then we can start to assemble. Starting with our cup sections first for this breastplate. starting with part K. In this middle section, you will connect to itself first. Then we're gonna keep moving up the cup and we're gonna grab part J, connecting it to the top section of K. Starting from one side and using the table, you're going to slowly push the two edges together to the other side. Then we're gonna grab the last part of that side of the cup, which is I, connecting it to the top section of J, just like before. And once again, we're gonna repeat these same steps for parts F, G, and H to complete the second cup. Now we're gonna connect the cups to the underframe section, which will be letter E. Starting from the center, we're gonna connect part G of the cup, going down towards the other side, which should go from G to F, back to G, and we'll finish with H at the end. And this may be a little tricky here and there, so you might want to do a tack on both sides and slowly work your way towards the center. And then we're gonna grab the other cup and we're gonna first attach the center section of the cups together, which should be H to I, and then we're gonna repeat connecting the bottom part of the cup to the waistband of E. Then moving right along, we're going to grab part D, which is going to connect to the bottom section of part E. And I recommend connecting both sides of the ends first and then working your way towards the center. Then for the side pieces, and we're gonna start by connecting parts M to N, and then connecting L to the top section of those two pieces. And this will complete one of the side pieces, which then we're going to want to repeat the same process with A to B, and then connecting C to the top part of those parts to complete the second side piece. And the last steps for this is connecting those side pieces to the front section. And we're gonna start by doing parts B to D, working from the bottom and going up to connect part C to E. And then we're gonna repeat this for the other side, connecting M to D as well as L to E to complete this breastplate, which is pattern number 18. Now for pattern number 19. And I will recommend having a full sheet of foam for this, as you're going to need a lot more material. And to start off, we're going to want to trace all of the pattern pieces for this one onto our 4mm HG foam, as well as labeling each of the parts. And once again, we're going to want to heat treat the foam, as well as this is going to help make the foam lay flat. And once that's done, you can cut it out with an X-Acto knife. And here are what all of the parts should look like once they're cut out. Next is time for gluing, and just like before, you're gonna grab your respirator to work with this contact cement glue, and you're gonna apply the glue onto all of the labeled edges. And once the glue has fully dried, it's time to assemble. And we're gonna start again with the cups, but it's gonna be slightly different from the previous two breastplates. Starting again with the smallest part of the cup, which is going to be parts E and H, and you're going to connect them to themselves first. Once that's done, you can then connect the next part of the cup to each of them. So E will connect to D, as well as H will connect to I. And for these, you'll start at one side and slowly make your way to the other using the table to help make the pieces touch flush. Then we're gonna grab the last part of these breast pieces, and we're gonna be connecting C to D, starting from one side and working our way to the other. And we're gonna repeat this for the other piece, which will be J connecting to I. And that should complete both of our cup pieces for this breastplate. Now for connecting the cup to the bottom section. And this will be a little tricky, but I'm sure you're going to get it. And for this, we're gonna start with part G, connecting it to our cup section of H, I, and J. starting with the center section, which will be I connecting to G, and then we're gonna go to the other side and connect J to the G section. Once those are done, then you can slowly work your way towards the center to fully connect the piece together. Then repeat it for the other side of F, connecting to the cup parts of E, D, and C. And the last step for our front part is connecting the two pieces together. And we're gonna start from the bottom, connecting F to G from the tip, working our way with the table slowly upwards towards the end, which will be connecting parts C to J. Next, we're gonna put those to the side momentarily, and we're gonna do our back pieces, which will be parts A connecting to B first. And I will note that there should be on the pattern on A a tiny little dash mark towards the top, and this is an indication of where the B section should end when connecting them. And then repeat the same process for connecting K to L. Then put that to the side, and then we're gonna do the back parts. And at this point, you should have 3 main parts now, a front and 2 back pieces. And now we're gonna connect them together, starting with B connecting it to F, and then the other side, which is G connecting it to K. And the very last step for completing this breastplate is connecting the shoulder parts. And we're gonna be starting with A to C and finishing off with L to J. And that will complete this female breastplate pattern number 19. Then on to our very last female breastplate pattern for this set, which is number 20. And you will need a full sheet of EVA foam plus a tiny bit more. And just like all the other patterns for this, you're going to want to trace it onto your 4mm foam as well as label it. Then we're going to heat treat it with a heat gun, followed by cutting it out with an X-Acto knife. And here's what all of the pieces should look like once they're cut out. Then once again, grab that respirator and we're gonna start gluing. And we're gonna apply this contact cement glue to all of our labeled edges. Again, wait for the glue to fully dry and we will then start to assemble. Now, assembling this one may be a little bit more tricky, but I'm gonna walk you through it so it'll be pretty simple. And we're gonna once again start with our cup sections. And for this, we're gonna start with the smallest part of them, which will be G and L. And each of these have a middle piece that's going to connect to themselves. Then we're gonna grab its correlating piece and connect that part together, which will be G to H, followed by L to K. Again, starting from one side, using the table and work your way towards the other so they connect flush. And then we're gonna connect the very top part of these cups, which will be J that connects to K, as well as I that connects to H. And that should complete both of our cup pieces for this breastplate. Now to work our way down from the cups, doing the underwire section, which will be parts M connecting to our L, K, J section. And this one is a bit tricky, so go slowly and you're gonna do a tack to the J section connecting to M, and then you're going to do another tack to the other section, which will be K connecting to M, and then slowly work your way back and forth towards the center until they are fully connected. And once again, repeat this same process for the other side of connecting F to the cup I, H, G. And continuing our way down, we're gonna connect M to N, starting from one side, working our way to the other, and then we're gonna repeat this process for connecting E to F. And that should complete both halves of our front sections of this breastplate. Then to connect the two pieces together, and this can be a little tricky, so just be warned, but we're gonna start from the bottom, connecting E to N, and we're gonna work our way up then connecting F to M, and because of our cup pieces, this will get a little tricky towards the top, so you will have to kind of bend the foam and kind of push it together and pull a little bit just to make sure you get that proper connection, followed by finishing off with connecting the top section of I to J. Now for our back pieces, and we're going to start by connecting A to C, starting from one side and working our way to the other. And we're going to repeat this for the other piece, which is going to be R to P. And then for the side piece, which is going to be our next one, this is going to be parts B connecting to D. And we're going to repeat this for the other side, which is Q that will connect to O. Then we're going to connect our side pieces to the back piece, starting with our QO piece connecting to RP. And I started from the bottom, doing a tack at the bottom and then a tack at the top, and then slowly worked my way back and forth towards the center to connect. You will have to bend the foam back and forth just because of the curvatures. And repeat this for the other side of AC connecting to BD. At this point, there should be 3 main pieces now, 2 back pieces and 1 front piece. And you guessed it, it's time to connect them together. And we're gonna start with our BD piece connecting to our FE piece. And repeat this for the other side, connecting the MN to the QO. And the very last step for completing this breastplate will be connecting the shoulder sections. And this will be connecting A to I, followed by J to R. And that will complete this last female breastplate of this set, which is pattern number 20. And congratulations! And that, guys, is all 4 of my latest female cosplay breastplates, size extra extra large. And I really hope that these help you with your next cosplay build, and let me know in the comments on what other basic cosplay patterns you're interested in, if you want some hats or some shoulder pads or something else. Let me know. I'd love to hear from you in the comments, as well as while you're there, don't forget to thumbs up the video and subscribe to the channel, as I'd love to have you as part of our cosplay building community. A big thank you to all of my company sponsors, as well as to all of my YouTube members here, specifically those legendary members who financially help to support me so I can continue bringing you more cosplay tutorials as my full-time job. And I'll see you for our next tutorial. Much love, guys!